Welcome to the Business Boys Talkin-Business Virtual Power Lunch. Please welcome your hosts, Tyler Price and Brian Magleby.
Hey, a thumbs up.
That's
There
right.
we
No
go.
peace sign today.
No. I am Tyler Price with the Small Business Development Center.
And I'm Brian Magleby with the Idaho Innovation Center. So welcome to Talkin' Business.
Here we
be
are.
talking business on Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
That's right. Same place, same time, every Tuesday. We're here. You guys may watch it throughout the week, but we're here the same place, same time every week. So we're excited. Let's talk about last week's show.
Boy, Echo Marshall really is one of the sharpest ladies that I've met.
She is, and she's
has
doing
done
big
an
things.
amazing job down there. She has come into an organization that's growing, that's changing, and just doing cool
And
stuff.
she's just kind of on the leadership team there, and we kind of joked with her after that someday we're going to be interviewing her because she's going to be the CEO.
She will. I think she will.
Of
She
down
wants
there.
it.
So,
She wants it.
but she's
Yep.
a great leader, and what a great example. She's sitting down at the Shoshone Bannock Casino and Hotel, and she's doing some wonderful things down there. So we are excited for today's show. We've got Dustin Harris. Man, this guy has I've been working with him for the last couple of years, and I'm in some groups with him, and it's like I put on Facebook and I'm not the one that's come up with this. I've had people tell me this many of times. When this guy speaks, the room should be silent because what he's going to be saying has business, a lot of business sense, and you just need to be quiet and listen to what he has. And that's the reason why we've invited him to be on the show today. So he's built a very, very, very successful business, and I'm excited to have Dustin on the show today.
Yeah, get him in here. I threw him in my bug once, and we drove around and talked stuff, and we'll
Talk
do that
some
again.
business, so-
Yeah, get you in the mix.
So
Since
good.
the three of us won't fit in the bug at the same time.
Dang right. So, well, that's kind of my personal problem. But anyway, we're excited to have Dustin on the show today. But we couldn't do this show without our sponsors.
Boy, and again, BBSI, that's a company doing great things for if you need HR, if you need training, if you need payroll, whatever it is you need. These men and women are doing really great things for the businesses that
Leaders
they serve.
in the community and human resource, BBSI, Jeremy
and
all
Mike
the
Smart,
Mike, and all the
Jared.
Jared.
Yep.
They just got a great crew down there, and can't say enough about BBSI and the SBDC. Wow. They are. I mean, you call them the hidden gem of Idaho,
Yep.
and people just don't know what they can get with the SBDC. And in fact, because of that, we're gonna be talking about the SBDC and things next week. We've got a region director coming from the SBDC that will be talking a lot about he's got some topics that he's really passionate about, and we're going to be doing some training on that, on supply chain and stuff like that. So,
anybody looking to start business needs to be in the SBD, needs to talk to the Small Business Development Center and also the Idaho Innovation Center, who's another one of the sponsors. And you do a great job there at the Idaho Innovation Center.
Thank
and
you.
Have really
I'll
taken
buy you
some,
lunch today because you said that. So.
Yeah, but you've taken incubators and help coach them, and the people do the heavy lifting too. But it's amazing what you do there.
It is, and Dustin actually was a tenant there with us, and he's one of the very success stories of the Innovation Center, and it's a great place. And I guess I'll summarize it up that we have more of a problem of getting people to leave the building when they have to, because we only have 3 to 5 years that they can stay there. And we have more of a problem of getting people out of there than we do people into there. We are currently, I have, a small cubicle for people. But we did have an office that is coming available this week. So
if you have a need, give this guy
that's right,
a shout.
The Innovation Center. So we
get
appreciate their sponsorship as well. And also Andex, man, these guys, every week they produce an amazing show for us. And absolutely a great crew here at Andex and Volpine.
Haley and Aaron will, if you have a need of a studio, these two can crush it.
Highly recommended. So, and Volpine Marketing, Ryan Yost, very involved in this community. the chamber and all sorts of networking groups. This guy is he's a marketing genius, and I think that
he really
doing a great
is. Some
job.
of his recent clients have seen significant growth, and Ryan knows what he's doing.
He does.
So.
Absolutely great. So we appreciate our sponsors for the show that allow us to continue to do this show each and every week.
Yeah, thank you.
So good. Well, let's. We've got just a quick 45-second introduction video here, talking about Dustin talking about his business, and then we're going to welcome Dustin to the platform.
Hi there. My name is Dustin Harris. I'm the Chief Appraiser and President of Appraisal Precision and Consulting Group. Welcome to my website. We've been in business since 1996, and we serve all of the areas of eastern Idaho, southern Idaho, western Wyoming, and northern Utah. We hope you will take a look around at the services that we provide. We can appraise anything from raw land to luxury homes, anything from the standard to the unusual. We strive to have the best customer service out there, and we have the largest appraisal firm in the area, currently over 12 people on staff. Thank you for coming. We know that you will be happy with the service that we provide. We look forward to serving you here at Appraisal Precision and Consulting Group.
Well, great. And you don't just have a radio face, you're a good-looking guy on top of that. So.
I need a little powder up here, but
I'm not sure powder will do
Probably
it,
won't
but,
cover it.
We do have a little shining there, but the shining's coming around Tyler there too,
Yeah,
man.
you
He
know,
looks like he's glowing there.
Yeah,
so-
he's older than I am, though.
So
85.
He's a grandpa.
very good. Well, welcome Dustin to Talkin' Business, and we've over the last few years we've got to know each other. We've been in some mastermind groups and things like that, and I'm sure you probably saw the post that I put on Facebook last night that and it's not just me that has this philosophy. Someone brought this and said this many of times to me, that literally in some of these meetings, that when Dustin, he may not speak a lot, but when he does speak, it's literally you have to listen to it, and I got to say that to commend you for that your business sense is off the charts in my books. So.
Well, I mean, that very kind of you. I didn't know who you were introducing, a different Dustin, I guess. But,
He was talking to your mom.
Right. But you know, I've been doing masterminds for many, many years, over a decade, and I love getting with other business owners and just people who think. Getting in that incubator, if you will, and talking ideas, it's a fabulous thing you put on, Brian.
It is. It's great, and we are glad to have you. So, kind of give us the history of where you've been in your business, where you're currently at, and and maybe what we won't let you out of here, but without talking about what could be what's down the road as well. So.
Yeah. No, it's a good question. So I grew up in a real estate family. My father was a broker. He was also a real estate appraiser. And he was doing this in the 80s when interest rates were north of 20%.
Yeah, crazy.
And he struggled, as you can imagine. Everybody in real estate struggled, and because of that, I didn't connect the two that it had to do with the interest rates and the government at the time. I just saw my dad working his tail off and not making a whole lot of money, and said, I don't ever want to do that.
Yeah.
So I grew up basically telling my dad, no, you can keep the real estate thing. I'll go do something different. Long story short, I got into college and realized that there's not a whole lot of opportunity out there in college in Logan, Utah.
Yeah.
I went
Go
crawling.
Aggies.
Yeah, I went crawling back to Daddy and said, hey, remember that real estate thing I said I never wanted to be involved in?
Yeah.
Give me a chance, and he did, and he trained me and taught me all kinds of wonderful business principles and practices that have really buoyed me up. And over the years, for the first 12 years of my business, and I've been in business 26 years, and the first 12 years of my business, I kind of did it like everybody else did it. Right. There's kind of a way of being an appraiser, and I just kind of followed what I saw, what I saw my colleagues doing, and then I realized that I was tired of working 60, 70 hours a week and living paycheck to paycheck, and I decided to do things differently. So I revamped and redid my business model and failed miserably several times, and over time kind of grew it to what it is now, and currently we are 15 people strong here. We're really an international company now. I actually had a staff meeting this morning, and I looked around and I said, we have people from 4 countries on this staff meeting call. It was super cool. So, and who knows what the future will bring? We'll continue to grow and develop, and I love what I'm doing, and I see that as an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Well, but I got to say that a few years ago you added a nuance to your business because you built up and you put together the right type of business and doing the right type of things that you turned into being a mentor to other people in that business. So tell us about what kind of evolved, how that evolved.
I talked about my dad and what a great example he was and is to me in business. But my mother was a teacher for 30 plus years. And I really was inspired by her and hopefully got a few of her genes and realized that I love teaching. It's really my passion in life. I like real estate, I like what I do, but I absolutely love teaching. And I've done it in different venues over the years, but what I love doing is reaching out and helping individuals to learn principles and practices that will help them to be more successful at what they do. So about 10 years ago, the Appraiser Coach was born, and I basically teach other appraisers how to be CEOs of their company. We're going to be talking later about the E-Myth, and the book, The E-Myth, Michael Gerber talks about the fact that there's technicians and there's business owners, and there's managers as well. But for simplicity, you've got technicians who are very good at what they do, but they're not necessarily business owners. They own their job. And I teach appraisers how to own a business, not necessarily just their job.
Mm-hmm. Not to be all technicians.
Right.
So, because and we're gonna talk in depth about the E-Myth book today. It's going to be our training topic at the end, and I have to say that if there's anybody that I know of personally that has mastered the principles taught in, I think the #1 business book for entrepreneurs is the E-Myth, and I highly recommend it. And if there's anybody that's lived it and now continues to teach it and live it on a daily basis, is Dustin Harris. So you do. How many people are you coaching?
So we have different levels. So I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, and I love that. Be able to meet with somebody. When I say one-on-one, obviously we're virtual. I meet with people all over the United States. I've got a couple of different membership levels. Some general information and a monthly meeting is what we call the All-Star Team. And we've got a couple hundred people across the nation, appraisers across the nation that belong to that. And then there's about 48, I think, currently mastermind students. And those are the students that I personally fly to their city, if you will. We meet together in a conference room with 8 to 10 other appraisers, and we hash out whatever's on their plate, what they need to do to bring their business to the next level.
Well, there really has been a big shift into this personal coaching space. I mean, it's always kind of been there for a long time, right? But now you're seeing a lot of people jump into it. So looking at it, because you've been doing it a second now, what would be your advice to somebody? Because not everyone's going to get into the vertical of real estate appraisals. Like that's a very specific niche that's hard to even break into, right?
Sure.
But what would you say to someone that wants to be in that space? Because where you kind of pointed out, you love teaching, and that's why you're in that space.
Right.
And there's other people that want to be able to do the same. So what is kind of the model to break into that?
Right, that's a good question.
It's hard.
And really, I think the answer to that question is kind of in your response or your question itself, because you talked about niche or specifics, and I think that really is the key. No disrespect to life coaches, there's a lot of them out there, right?
Yeah.
But those that are successful are those that are very specific in what they teach, right? The specific audience, the specific thing that they are an expert on. The reason I've been able to have some success as a mentor is because it's in a very specific environment that I have personally been able to see some success with, and then be able to roll that out to others.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool, and just watching you, because I've talked to you about something that I was looking at doing, very specific too, and those were some of the things you pointed on, so I appreciated that.
Yeah.
I do want to shift back though, where you had mentioned people were buying homes at one point at 18 to 20-something%. I don't even know what prime was back then.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just
my
little
parents
kids.
had an 18% loan, so.
But the home was maybe $30,000 to $60,000 home.
Sure.
So now we have really low interest, and no one really talks about this inflation that we have seen, not just in the homes, because home prices have gone through the roofs, but in the food that we buy, in really everything, right? So you then, being real estate expert, what what do we do with this inflation that no one wants to talk about?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think it's a similar question you asked me as we were driving around in your Bug a few weeks ago, which, by the way, was a really cool experience. That's super fun. But it's a situation that, first of all, we don't know what's coming, but we do know that markets are cyclical. They always have been, and real estate is up and it's down. And I think that any player in that world, and not just investor, but any homeowner, needs to understand that it's going to be up and it's going to be down. Right now, we have a situation, Tyler, as you pointed out, that we've got low interest rates. With low interest rates comes, quote unquote, free money, right? So people are seeing an increase in the purchase prices because really their payment is as low, if not lower, than it would have been at a lower purchase price with a higher interest rate. Yeah. And so you see players in the market do things they wouldn't normally do because of that artificial, if you will, number game, if you will, the interest rate.
Payments are the same.
Right, exactly. Yep. So what does that mean long term? Well, the debt's different. You talked about inflation. One of the things about real estate is if people really understand how investments work, they'll understand that commodities and real estate specifically are a very good insulator against that inflation, right? Because people always need a place to lay their head at night. And consequently, it's a bit of a game, yes, but it's a bit of a hedge against that inflation. You see what's being reported on the news, the actual inflation is quite a bit higher. We know that.
Much higher.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I've done recently is taken some of that savings, if you will, and look toward retirement. And part of that means that I'm going to invest in real estate because I know that long term, again, maybe not in the short term, will there be a downturn? Probably. Yeah. In the long term, I see that being a bit of a hedge against that inflation.
Yeah. It is. And many of people that with the advancements of rental properties through VRBO and Airbnb and things like this, and I've actually stayed at one of your Airbnbs.
Yes, you have.
And actually, it's a very, very great business model. He's setting himself up right for the retirement, and that's a very smart thing that people should be doing out there. So, what do you see? What are the corrections you see happening over the next couple of years?
Yeah. It's a great question, and let me set the foundation. In Idaho, we currently, according to statistics, are the #1 move-in state in the nation right now. People are moving to Idaho for many, many reasons, but many have understood that because of COVID, they understand that they can now, it's not just a pipe dream that they can work from home. So if you can go to a place that's beautiful, like Idaho is, with the mountains, and we won't talk about February, but good weather most of the time, right? But it's a great place. It really is. Now, I was born and raised here, so I'm a little bit biased when it comes to that, but it is a great place. A lot of people are discovering that. Yeah. And so the move-in rate is extraordinary, and thus you see the increase. Many people ask me, is this like 2008 all over again? And again, we can't predict markets. If I could predict markets, I wouldn't be sitting here. I would be on CNN. No offense, so this is a great venue, but you understand. Yeah. The idea that the market goes up and the market goes down is a truism, right? What will happen in the future? Impossible to know. I do believe that we're in for some sort of correction. I certainly don't believe we're in a bubble like we were in 2007. Here's the difference. 2007, you saw a lot of people coming in and investing simply because of the increase, right? They were buying real estate because they were speculating that it would increase and that they could sell it for more, they could get more equity, what have you. This is a little bit different situation. You've got people actually moving here and wanting to buy real estate, and that's a supply and demand thing. Mm-hmm. Again, can we correct? Certainly. Are we going to see a drop off like we did in 2010? It was 2010 when it actually hit Idaho, late 2010. Mm-hmm. Will we see that again? I don't think so.
Yeah. You don't foresee real estate, because I hear people say, well, I'll buy a house when prices come down.
Sure.
You don't see that like, oh, they're going to come down 50% or something like that. I think pricing seems to be like it's going to be where it's at, but I don't know. I'm not an expert.
No, I mean, your question. If your question is how much, again, I don't know.
Yeah.
If I were to predict, I mean, we saw prices in 2010, 2011, 2012 sometimes drop. I saw some drop 75%. Wow. Some homes. Now that wasn't the norm. The norm was around 40, 50%, but that's still big. That's a huge hit.
Yeah.
Are we going to see that again? I don't think so. Yeah. Will we see a 15% correction? Maybe.
And higher interest rates, most likely.
And they'll probably be simultaneous, right? One will lead to the other, most likely. Yeah.
So then, what do we say to our generation of kids that are coming up? They want to be able to own a home. Is it no? Find a nice van and deck it out. Is that where the movement's going to be? Is van?
As long as it's by the river, I think.
Yeah, as long as they're by the river. But yeah, what does it take for a kid then? Do you think?
Oh, it's tough.
You've got a young kid.
I've got a
that wants
young
to do
kid.
it.
Just got married. He's been married almost a year now, and he and his lovely bride have been looking for a year to find something to buy, and it's crazy. It's hard to find something in their price range, and it's a struggle. I've watched them struggle. I'm in real estate, and I've watched them struggle with this whole dilemma of how do you buy real estate if the prices are doing what they're doing. I mean, a 2-bedroom 1950s home going for $250,000 is insane.
That's my neighborhood. I live in my home was built in the 1930s. I love the old numbered streets, and it was Dr. Guyette's house, so it has Dr. Guyette on the door knocker. But our houses are weird in the numbered streets because you got good sized houses is about 3,500 square feet, and then you got 800 square feet.
Right.
And that thing's going for $200,000. I didn't pay $200,000 for my house.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's
nuts.
It's I don't know. Someone's got to figure out a way to allow the up and coming to buy a home, because in the city, I just don't know how they do it unless they just really crush it in their professional life. Right?
Yeah, it's tough. It really is. So real estate is a challenge in general. Right now, it's an extraordinary challenge.
Yeah. And the vans are getting nicer.
That's true.
And the vans are,
And the spots on the river are opening up.
Opening up. So
there's some definite nice vans. I saw a nice Mercedes one this weekend, and man, it was like, wow, I could actually live possibly in that.
Yeah.
So
maybe for a week, Brian.
well, give me a week. So good. What do you see happening? In the looking in eastern Idaho here, taking in all of eastern Idaho. What are some things, or when do we expect some corrections to be made?
Yeah, I think, again, impossible to say what's coming down the road. Again, I go back to what I know, and what I know is that real estate is cyclical. Will it correct? I think there's no doubt, right? We've been on this upcycle for a very, very long time, Brian. I mean, and it's lasted, in many people's opinion, too long. Again, I want to go back to the reason why we're seeing this increase. It's not the same thing that we saw in 2007. People are actually moving here, meaning that there is a shortage. They can't build fast enough. The building prices have gone through the roof. Now, they've adjusted a little bit in the last couple of months, but we're still seeing record high building prices. It's difficult to find land. It's difficult to get any builders to do anything. Again, no offense to builders, but they're busy, right? It's not like they're sitting around watching soap operas. They're busy building other homes. So how do you find somebody to build your house if they've got 3 in the hopper already that they're working on, and the building prices are high? I mean, it really comes down, again, years ago I read a very boring book called The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, and it was all about the invisible hand. It's all about supply and demand, and right now we're seeing a huge demand and a very low supply. So what do you think is going to happen to the prices? They're going to go up.
They are.
Until something happens that corrects that demand side, and that could be anything, we're going to continue to see increases.
Yeah. These kind of issues are reasons why we have people like Dustin here on the show, because it affects the businesses in the area.
It does. Yeah.
And it's in 2 weeks from now, we're going to have a commercial real estate person in that's going to talk to us about what's the future of some of the commercial development here. But it's nice to see someone that is so knowledgeable about the home market and what's going to be happening in the future. Talk to us about COVID and how COVID has affected a lot of your business was online prior to COVID, but how is the appraisal business been affected because of that?
So let's talk first about the business setup. And that is, yes, you're right. I had many people working from home before COVID hit, before the pandemic. And I've employed people outside the U.S., inside the U.S., all over the U.S. For many years. So in that sense, it didn't change a lot. I did have a brick and mortar building at the first of COVID. My lease expired, I think, 3 months into it, about June-ish. And I did not choose to renew. So everybody is now working from home. The whole 15, the crew of 15 are all working from home. Which I think is a benefit for the most part. For most of them, it's been a good thing for us. So that side, again, as you pointed out, Brian, not a lot of things changed with COVID that side. But On the appraisal side, it was very interesting to watch things happen. In the beginning, I think everybody kind of predicted, okay, well, we've seen these high prices for years and years and years. This is going to be the crash, if you will, that many people have been predicting in the real estate market. And guess what? It didn't happen. The exact opposite times 10 happened.
Yeah.
And so we've had the busiest 2 years that we've ever had. I've been in business 26 years. And we have absolutely had record-breaking years the last 2 years. Our crew has grown from, I'm going to say, pandemic era, we were around 6, maybe 7 people, so we've pretty much doubled our staff during that time. And we currently turn down about 60% of the work that comes into our office.
Wow.
We just don't have time to do it.
Yeah.
I wish every entrepreneur that's watching this show is probably saying, I wished I had that problem type deal. So,
But then you've kind of hedged it too in terms of the education side of it. So, I think that you're poised in a really good spot to help people weather any sort of storm. Right now, it's like the winds are in your sails. You just get flying out there.
Well, they're different problems.
Right.
So right now I'm dealing with the coaching of helping appraisers. How do you handle the fact that you can't handle 60% of the volume that comes in? How do you negotiate that? How do you get more efficient? How do you do more with less? How do you delegate? How do you set up systems that work really well? So that's the coaching that I'm doing now. On the flip side of that, when things are low, and I've coached through that as well. I've been a coach for about 10 years now. And on the low side, I'm helping people market, how to reach out and do different types of products that they haven't done before, educate themselves and learn other things. So it's a different type of coaching, but coaching is there. People always need help getting to the next level.
Yeah.
wow. There's a reason why so when I set this show up, it was that when Dustin speaks, you need to listen.
Yep.
And I think that hopefully the audience can see why that's been told to me many, many of times. So absolutely, the business model that you have done, and so talk to me about the E-Myth, and we'll be introducing it here in a few minutes, but kind of talk about how that book has affected the way you've done business.
Right. So the E-Myth is a book that I found many, many years ago, and I fell in love with it. If you haven't read the E-Myth, it not only packs a punch when it comes to principles and practices in your business, but it's told in story form. So it's told like you're reading a novel. You're reading about a fictional character going through some problems and some issues, and the author, if you will, is kind of a coach helping that person to be able to do what they want to do and be able to make money at it. I found that the E-Myth was absolutely essential to many of the things, the success things that I do in my own personal appraisal office here locally, here in Idaho Falls. When I started coaching, I realized that really truly is the Bible when it comes to service-based businesses, entrepreneurs who are good at whatever technical thing that they do, and then decide to create a business out of it. Many things, many problems, and the reason it's called the E-Myth, by the way, is E stands for entrepreneurial myth. Yeah. So Michael Gerber basically says, here's the myth. The myth is if you're a really great plumber, that you will also be a really great plumbing business owner, right? And that's not always the case. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. I spend a lot of time on the coaching side helping appraisers who are excellent appraisers. They're great technicians, but they've never been trained on how to be a CEO of their company.
How to run a business
Exactly.
and grow a business.
Exactly. And the E-Myth, I lean on heavily.
Yes. Yeah, and we're going to get in and talk about that here in a little bit, but thanks for introducing that, because this book is, I feel, the #1 book for entrepreneurs out there. And if you haven't got it, you need to go get it. Well, or you can watch the end of the show
today.
and we're going to win it. We've got this copy here that we're going to be giving away today. So you got to watch through the end of the show. So is there anything else, Dustin, that you could tell us about your business that you want our audience to know about growing a business?
Yeah. The only thing that comes to mind is we talked about niche and we talked about specifics. And yes, I'm a real estate appraiser, and they sometimes refer to me as the appraiser coach. My kids would laugh at me. They think it's quite funny that I'm the appraiser coach. When we go into a restaurant and can't find a seat, they said, "Well, did you tell them you're the appraiser coach?"
Love it.
But the idea that I've niched what I do is one thing, but remember, the principles and practices of running a good business are universal. And specifically when it comes to a service-based business, there are things to learn and things to implement that will cause you to find success. What I find is that most service-based business owners, if you will, The reason that they own their job is they're so busy working that they forget to work on their business. So I have a term that I use in my coaching called ONI, and it stands for on it, not in it. Okay,
good, yeah.
and it comes from the E-Myth. I'll credit to Gerber for this. And on a weekly basis, I set aside time to work on my business, not in my business. I'm not doing appraisals. I'm not doing staff meetings. I'm not fill in the blank. I am working solely on vision and where I'm going with my mission, with my business. And that, in addition to the masterminds I've been involved in over the years, those are the two things that I think that I could credit to any success to.
Awesome.
Wow. Wow. Man, we could sit here and talk for hours.
Yeah.
Because of, and this is, it just comes right to reality here of when Dustin speaks, you want to listen. And that's just, I can't say
I'm going
that
to tell
enough.
my kids that.
Yeah.
Brian said.
No, but you say when the appraisal coach speaks, quit making fun of him. And
Exactly.
listen, right?
And listen to me.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the name of your business? I'm not sure we brought that up, but
So our business is Appraisal, Precision, and Consulting Group, and like you saw in the video, we cover Western Wyoming, all of Southeast Idaho, Central Idaho, so Twin Falls area, and the extreme northern Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very good. And you can always and literally if you Google the Appraiser Coach,
Dustin comes
Appraisal
up.
Coach.
The Appraiser Coach.
Appraiser Coach.
Wow.
That's
Yes,
then
I
you will Dustin's mug will show up there in all of its glory. So so thank you, Dustin, for being on Talkin' Business. And as we do with each show, kind of end out what this quote that you have that you came up with yourself.
Yeah, I mean, this is so. Over the years, I've thought about this idea of wealth and what is wealth, and I think too often we equate wealth with money, and certainly wealth has to do with money. Okay, but to me, wealth is about freedom. It's about liberty. I'm a big liberty guy. I'm a big believer in helping people to have the freedom that they want to have, and that's what this quote really stems from. That wealth is about doing what you want. With whom you want, when you want, because you want, right? And it's as simple as that. It's about having the health, the money, the freedom, the time, the energy, the relationships. All of this stuff fits into this definition, and that's constantly what drives me, is what can I do to help others, to serve others, to build my relationships, to yes, build money, to build retirement, to build all of these things that help me to have more freedom in my life, to be able to do the things that I love to do with the people that I love to do them with.
Yeah.
And any entrepreneur that's watching this show, if that doesn't ring a bell with you, it should. So and so thank you, Dustin, for being here. I love your quote. It's a great, and I know that you live and will die with that. That is a great principle that successful business people have, and what a smart businessman you are, and I wish you only the best. So
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
So let's transition into this training. Now we're going to talk about the E-Myth here for a little bit, but we've got a video that we want you to watch here at the end. That I've in all the years of research that I've done of this book being my Bible. Is that it's just this is so important. But we're going to watch this video at the end. We're going to bring on the 7-minute video that we want you to watch, and we're going to give away the copy of the E-Myth book. And so we're going to tease you that we want you to watch it so much that at the very end of this video, there's a logo at the very end with the company that the video's produced by, and it has a specific mark in their logo. And if you text me, we're going to put up my number. I want you to write down the number of my cell phone number, and if the first person to watch till the end of this video, and you text me the mark that's at the very end of the last couple seconds of this video, there's my cell phone number, 208-520-9400. Write it down now, because you'll want to watch this video. It is that good, and it so just greatly explains the E-Myth book. And there's a logo at the end. You got to text me what that logo is, and you're going to win what that the book. So, and it's a little more expensive. I think it's a $20 to $30 book.
Yeah, it's earned it.
So, but let's just talk about this. This quote that's up here in the corner. If your business depends on you, you don't own a business. You have a job. and it's the worst job in the world because you're working for a lunatic. And that's the author of this book, and that kind of really summarizes this book up really well, don't you think?
I absolutely think that. And too many of us do that. We feel like we own a business, but if we took a trip, if we were sick, if, fill in the blank, we couldn't be there to run our business would not be a business.
Yeah.
When I was growing a pretty large business years ago, probably 15 years ago, I hired a coach, and I just barely got back from a trip from Hawaii, and he said, "How was that trip to Hawaii?" I said, "Well, with my status of my business, I've grown pretty good. It wasn't much of a vacation, and my wife and kids would attest to it that I probably worked 50 to 75% of the vacation." And he said, "Well, the next trip you're going to go on, you're not going to do that." So he set my company up over the next couple of years. And when I went on the next one, I didn't touch my phone, but maybe once or twice that whole 10-day time in Hawaii. So that's where, and he taught me the principles of this book. So let's talk about, there's different levels of being in your business, and there's a time and a place for each one of these three places. Sometimes you have to be the technician, like Dustin talked about. There's a time and a place that you have to be a technician, but then as your business grows, you've got to turn into being the manager. And then after you nail that part of it, then you've got to, if you want to continue the growth, then you've got to move into being that entrepreneur. If you want to, and I love how one of the things they talk about is that you need to plan your business as if you're a franchise right at the beginning. I think that's one of the good things that it talks about. How have you seen these three different types of people evolve through your business?
Well, first of all, let's use myself as an example. When I first started the business, if you will, when I say started, again, I stood on the shoulders of my father, but we actually never had the same business name. He had his business, I had my business. He was instrumental in helping me to grow, but I was kind of on my own. Other than his mentorship, I mean, I was like any other appraiser. I sometimes refer to it as our appraiser cave, right? We sit in front of that computer and we crunch numbers all day long, and we might sneak out once in a while, and hopefully, there's not too much light out there, and we, creep in and out of houses, and we take our pictures, and we come back to our appraiser cave and go to town. And a lot of appraisers are very solo. They're very, they're one-person businesses, and it makes a difference when you start to realize, okay, there's something so much bigger than this, right? I can not only create this empire for myself, but I can also bless the lives of others and bring them together. And as a team, you work and grow that, which pushes you to that next level, Brian, that level of manager, right? Yep. And I find that many of the individuals that I coach are in that role manager, and yet they use the incorrect term owner, right? Manager is not owner. They're two different things. You've got a technician, you've got a manager, and you've got an owner. And those are three distinct roles. Now, there's nothing wrong with being all three, and I am all three in my business, right? I own the business, I manage the business, and I'm still a technician. I still go out and do inspections and do write-ups and do everything that is involved there, but I'm moving more and more toward, as I get older, I like the ownership side a little bit better. So that's where I'm floating to, but these principles, again, they're true whether you're in a real estate appraisal office, a plumbing office, it doesn't matter. These are true principles that you need to understand your role. There's nothing wrong with being a technician.
Correct.
There's nothing wrong with being a manager.
Very successful technicians
Absolutely.
out there.
And there are specific people that work really well in different roles. My office manager is incredible. I mean, I got teared up today in staff meeting when I talked about her and what she's done. We've been a little bit short-staffed this last week, and she has, she's incredible. This is her role in life. This is her mission in life. She's insanely good at what she does, right? But it's understanding the different roles that people are in, and again, understanding that today I'm putting on the manager hat, tomorrow I'm putting on the technician hat, and Monday morning when I work on my business, not in my business, I'm going to put on the ownership hat.
And like you said, there's nothing wrong with being one of the three or all three or whatever, but because at each level there's a whole another level of pain and stress, and it's just it's your capacity to handle those things that has to increase too. So.
But one of the biggest things that I personally learned from this book is that you have to bring in, if you want your business to grow, you can stay forever in and there's nothing wrong with that. They do, some of
Yep.
them do very, very well.
Yep.
But if you want your business to grow and succeed and have the opportunity like Dustin's has taken it, and now he's coaching people all over the world, that you've got to be that entrepreneur. But in order to do that, you have to have policies, procedures, and things set in things so that you can replace yourself in those roles of being a technician and then the manager. If you have to have those type of policies and procedures in there and documented so that you can, so when there's a question that comes up, it's here's how you do it. Yeah. And that's the best thing that you can, I think, learn from this book. So
yeah. Well, great.
Absolutely. I can't stress it enough that you need to get this book. Any entrepreneur out there, hear us. If there's anything that the business, the talking business boys can get from you get out of this watching these, is that you need to read this book. This is a must. And I don't get usually up on my soapbox very much, but I'm going to stand up here and say you need to
read this book.
Read this book and listen to it, because it's available in many different forms out there, and highly encourage you to do it. So we're going to watch a 7-minute video, and we're going to start it playing, and you got to text me what that mark is at the end of it if you want to win this book. And I hope, and even if you're watching this after the fact, still text it. I'd love to. Last week I got probably like 20 texts after when we gave away the packets down there. And absolutely don't think that you may be it's too late for you. Still text me and tell me what the E-Myth book does for you. So
yeah, amen.
So, and next week we've got the SBDC. Dave Nowak will be on here, and we'll be talking some supply chain and what the SBDC can do to help you in your business. So we're excited for that. We'll be doing it here live next Tuesday, Talking Business.
There we go.
Thanks, everybody. Here's a video. Watch this. This is awesome. Thank you, Dustin.
Thanks.
Should you ditch your boss and start a business? If you already know how to produce a product or service people pay for, why not build a business around it? Let's say you're an awesome graphic designer and you work in a graphic design studio. You know people love your designs, so you decide to start your own graphic design company. You start with a few existing clients. They recommend a few more clients. Soon you're busy and you don't have a boss anymore. Life's great. You feel like a kid on the first day of summer after a long school year. But soon you're putting in 14-hour days to do the design work and all the other little things you need to do to keep the business running. After a few weeks of working these 14-hour days, you decide you need to hire an experienced administrative assistant to deal with all the administrative work you don't want to do. You also decide to hire an experienced marketer to do the marketing work you don't have time to do. You trust that these experienced people will know what they need to do because they've worked in similar positions in the past. Now you've got people doing the work you don't want to do, and you can focus on what you do best, producing beautiful graphic designs. But just when you think it's going well, your administrative assistant leaves, and what's worse, she's put all your financial data in a software program you're not familiar with. It's a complete disaster. And on top of that, the marketing person you hired isn't producing ads the way you want them. You decide to let them go and do the marketing yourself. Now you need to put in 18-hour days to clean up the mess and do the backlog of design work. Your projects start to suffer, deadlines get missed, quality drops, and clients are getting pissed off. You thought when you started your business, you got rid of your boss. But now it feels like you have a boss again. And this boss doesn't give you a day off and barely gives you enough money to pay rent. How did you get yourself into this mess? You're in this mess because you built a business that relies on you. In the book, The E-Myth Revisited, author Michael Gerber says if your business depends on you, you don't own a business, you have a job. And it's the worst job in the world. The top priority for a business owner is to create a business that produces a great product or service without them. In other words, an entrepreneur doesn't produce a product or service. An entrepreneur creates a system that produces a great product or service and removes themselves from the process. If you own a bakery, you don't want to bake the best cakes in town. You want to build a system and hire people to bake the best cakes in town. Your goal is to build a cake baking system that allows ordinary people to produce extraordinary results. So how do you build a business of systems and hire people to operate those systems without you. It all starts the moment you decide to start a business. You start by asking yourself, what size do I see this business naturally growing to in the next 5 years? And what roles do I need to fill inside that business? For each position on that org chart, you identify the result that position is responsible for and the standards to which they must deliver it. Then you and your business partners decide which of your names will go into those positions. Your name might be in 4 different positions at this point, but that's normal. Your goal is to start from the lowest level position and build systems to replace yourself in each position. If the lowest level of your company is widget maker and you put yourself in the widget maker position, you need to develop a reliable and repeatable system that anyone who fills a position can execute and successfully produce a result to the standards you've set. Only after you've built a reliable, repeatable system do you move yourself into a higher position, like the widget maker manager, and create a reliable system for that position. You replace yourself with a system by documenting everything you do to achieve the result that you want to the standards you've set. You document your process in an operations manual. An operations manual contains checklists, templates, and scripts. You test your system by following your operations manual exactly as you've written it. Once you've verified that your system produces the results that position's responsible for to the standards you've set, it's time to hire someone to execute your system. To hire someone to execute your system, put the following ad on Craigslist or LinkedIn. Looking for people who believe in our company's vision, who have an open mind and wants to learn new skills. No experience necessary. You see, if you hire someone with experience, they won't fully buy into your system because they will have already developed the habits of someone else's system. And if your business success relies on hiring experienced people who have their own way of doing things, then the business not only relies on you, it also relies on each of them. If they show up, you succeed. If they don't, you're doomed. It's better to have the success of your company rely on the quality of the systems that you've built for the company. When a company with high-quality systems loses a person, they can quickly be replaced by a wide variety of people who are eager to learn. When taking a systems approach to your business, think of yourself like a writer-director for a Broadway musical. You start by writing the script and the lines for each of the actors. Then you pick out the costumes and design the sets. Then you hire enthusiastic actors who haven't played the roles before. You hand them the script, aka the operations manual, and you ask them to memorize their lines. These actors won't feel like they're part of a bureaucratic system because the actors know that by mastering their role, they'll be able to put on a performance with the other actors that will wow the audience. And once the actors master their roles, you foster an entrepreneurial spirit in your people. You encourage them to improve upon their roles. Eventually, they come up with better lines. They help improve the set. Once everyone is in the roles that you designed and executing the script you wrote, you can go off to Paris or start writing your next musical because the musical you just wrote is being performed night after night without you having to be in the theater. That musical is making you money and it continues to get rave reviews from its audiences. So if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, it will require more than just knowing how to produce a product or service that people want to buy. To be a successful entrepreneur, you need to know how to build systems inside of your business that can produce an extraordinary product without you. In that way, you no longer are trapped by your business because your business is working for you. That was the core message that I gathered from the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. This book is a classic business book. I highly recommend it for any aspiring entrepreneur. If you would like a one-page PDF summary of insights that I gathered from this book, just click the link below and I'd be happy to email it to you. If you already subscribe to the free Productivity Game email newsletter, this PDF is sitting in your inbox. If you like this video, please share it. And as always, thanks for watching and have yourself a productive week.